Sorry about the video cutting out yesterday, guys. Or not the video, but the sound. Um, Mike died on me. I'm not the first video that's happened. So, but I rewatched the video before I posted it, and I had pretty much said everything I wanted to say about Ravage. So I'm just going to pick up where I left off with talking about the last day of week 34, which is Ray and the Future Force. This one I had signed by John Ostrander and Sean Chen. This title is where I discovered Sean Chen, and I really like his style. Yes, it's somewhat stiff, but he does a lot of detail, which I really like, of course. And and of course, I'm a team book guy, so this was actually like one of my first introduction to uh, the Valiant universe, and I just liked it so much. I mean, I didn't really know about the Eternal Warrior or the Geoforce character. I, I'd seen issues of Magnus on the shelves, but I never picked it up because I'm like, the guy's wearing a fucking skirt. No, you're making a tough guy, but he's wearing a goddamn skirt. No, I don't think so. And this one here, they beefed him up and they actually gave him like a uniform. He had like metal knee pads, metal gauntlets, and he also had pants. So I thought it was a big upgrade with the redesign for him and his title, along with Ray and the Future Force. So, but yeah, so I enjoy this issue and then it did issue 236. 236 here they were like because they were showing like how the whole world was affected by having robot overlords, and they went down to South America, where they discovered that the Exo Man of War armor was down there, and it was in control of a white supremacist, and like it was like a neo-Nazi type guy because we all how so many Germans escaped to South America after World War II. And so I liked how they did this story where uh, basically the armor rejects him, and they'd established that there was this like robot bird that was like, I guess you could say the Jiminy Cricket for Magnus. And here the bird takes the ring, which allows you to control the Exo armor, and he basically takes it inside him, and goes, there it goes, so it's in safekeeping. So their way they could show the X-Men War armor was still around, but was being utilized. And the character they had an a female. She had lost her hand, and apparently she was a character when it was just Ray. And so she had an Exo commando armor, which is not, it's like the Exo Man of War armor, but it's not as powerful. But it's powerful enough because it's like going up against the robot overlords. So, which again, you gave that taste of the Exo armor in the series. So, but yeah, so I enjoyed this. And what also was, like I said, I'm a big fan of like, if you're in a future dystopian world, you can't just like get away with just drawing a bunch of broken stones and bricks. You got to get in there and like put all the deep like girders and like broken office chairs and that type of stuff. And in this series of Ray and the Future Force, at one point they come across like these pirates, and they're attacking these people who have formed a village or a town, if you will, on top of a uh, aircraft carrier. Which again, I thought that was really cool. So, and him drawing this aircraft carrier with all these little huts on top of it, I thought was quite cool. So, of course, and all. So, but that's why I picked like these two issues, which give you a taste of of Sean's working on Exo Man of War. He then went on after that to do a number of issues on the Harbinger book. He did eventually do Exo Man of War, and he did Bloodshot. So he was actually with Valiant for a good period of time with his career until Valiant finally completely went under, and then he went and did work for both Marvel and DC, and had his fairly lengthy career. So, in fact, he even did for a period of time. He was doing marketing material for Marvel. So, like, 10 issues and that type of stuff. So, even though his stuff wasn't in print and comics, he was still doing work for uh, Marvel and DC. After that, and now we're in the week 35. We're doing days 236 through 242. And we go from there, and we go in from Valiant. At this point, yeah, we're doing independent press or small press. And after that, we do Return to Monster Island, issue 3. This is when Monster Island, or Return to Monster Island, was being done through Omnibus Press. And they had a series. You could buy the whole book, or the hardbound book, or they had uh, you could buy individual issues of issues 1 through 3, because the book was essentially 3 issues compacted into one book. So this was issue 3, and I got this issue when I bought the hardbound books from Omnibus Press. This is back before I really even knew what Comicsgate was, and really got into small press. So I was just following Graham, and I remembered him advertising on his Facebook page. So I got it, and I got books 1 and 2 hardbound, along with I got this issue 3, with a Jose Luis Garcia Lopez cover. So think about it, I've got a book here signed by both Graham and Jose. So for me, it's like that's pretty fucking cool. So that's the reason why I was like, I gotta share that with you guys. So like I said, it was Jose does great work, and to see him being able to draw, just create a beautiful composition. So, and then after that, we went to day 238, and I think I got. And at this point here, if something happened, I'd gotten my numbering wrong, so it was actually listed as day 236, I think. So I'm sorry about that, guys, but I'll have to fix it when I do my numbering, when I release my signed book tomorrow. But 238, RoboCop versus Terminator. Okay, this one I had signed by John Workman the letter first, before I had Walt Simonson sign it. In fact, I made a point of going to a con that John Workman was not at to have Walt sign it. So that way it wasn't one of those deals where it's like, oh, have them both signed because they're at the same con. I made a point, okay, so that way Walt could see that, like, hey, I really like John's lettering, and that's the reason why I had him sign it first before he signed it. So, and I told Walt, and we've all heard the stories of Walt, of how much respect he has for John Workman, and how John Workman actually saves him time, because that way he just does rough layouts, gives the pages to uh, John Workman. John Workman then does all the lettering, and that way it has less for Walt to draw. And more importantly, once he's got the lettering, he doesn't have to worry about like taking the head and like cocking it to the side, because of the like if the lettering takes up so much space, he can just cock the guy's head to the side, and that way it fits in. He doesn't have to like rework an entire page because of that, or lament over how much of what he drew is covered up because of lettering. So Walt is smart in that he uses it as a time-saving device, having John do the lettering first. So, and I always look at John Workman. This is a perfect example of when I state that John Workman is the John Williams of comic books, how he's the one that creates the musical score. he is the comic books FX department. Is because when you see how he does the lettering and he like there's like pages in this book that all it is sound effects with maybe like two word bubbles, and it is great. I mean, especially like he'll have a page where it's like some like the stomping of the Terminators, and it's going like doom doom doom, and like all these like sound effects of a thump or a doom going straight down the panel, and then at the bottom a big all it is a big kaboom with like a little silhouette of the Terminator with little like flecks of debris going around, but the rest of it all is just lettering of the kaboom, which creates the effect that you want without having to draw every goddamn little thing. So, and that's what. So if you ever see next, I challenge you guys. So like Marcus, uh, Snow, Ronan, Duck Bacon, John's Longbox. Go find. I know you guys all have this book. Okay, it's again. It is RoboCop versus Terminator, issue number 2. Flip through that book. You'll see that there's one of those where it's like you can feel from the lettering. You can feel the intensity of the explosions, and it's like your brain all but like creates that like sound effects in your brain and gives you that you start to get that you start to hear in your brain the Terminator soundtrack, dun dun dun, and like that clanging of metal. And the same thing goes where it's like when you see the RoboCop pages and how the RoboCop is, you feel that that theme music for RoboCop. So I encourage you all like and take a look at it and then come back and let me know in the comments whether I'm right or wrong. So after that we go to Rough Riders #1, signed with Patrick Olive. I really like these types of books. Okay, I love it when you go back in time and you uh, take real life people and you create a fictional scenario where these characters had to uh, team up. And at the point when they did the Rough Riders, I think it was like after this first series, they posed it as like a one issue book where they showed events during the time where the Rough Riders was reestablished over periods of time with the people of that the athletes and the pop culture people of that era, and just like the what ifs. And you know what it was? It was basically a proposal to I think it was Boom or Aftershock. I can't remember who did this series, who published it, but like how like those you could tell there was a proposal to the publisher to keep the series going, which I thought was a great proposal. Plus, also it's like it created enthusiasm within myself that I was thinking about like what stuff do I really know about, and like I know like big fan of like lighthouses and this that and the other thing. What would be the event story that you would have to have like Ronald Reagan, the actor, team up with Ted Nugent and Milton Hershey, and you get what I'm saying. That they would have to fight a, and the reason why I thought Ronald Reagan is do Ronald Reagan as an actor, and whatever the event was or story, he had to whatever the conflict was, he had to help resolve with these other characters. It's what pushes him to not only become a politician, but also the reason why he wanted the Star Wars defense system to be constructed. You know what I'm saying? Like we all know that basically he used that to like run Russia into the ground out of business. Um, but I was looking at it like what was the other reason for it? What was the secret reason we never knew? Because that was the whole point of the Rough Riders was to give you a fictional story or a conflict that we wouldn't have known of this like secret conflict that resulted in Theodore Roosevelt having to reassemble the Rough Riders with these with like Harry Houdini and the boxer and uh, oh the Western girl who with a crack shot. You know who I'm talking about. I can't think of it off the top of my head. I know, Marcus. You're gonna put in the comments. So, oh, and while you guys are in the comments, can you do me a favor? Can you hit the like? And Marcus, I know are you're a huge supporter, and thank you very much, Marcus, for constantly liking and sharing out my videos. But yeah, I mean, if you guys go in, when you guys comment on my video, make sure you hit that like button, guys. I know I don't ask that a whole lot, so that's on me. So, and I just remember, this is John's Longbox's character, and this is the first page of his story, the Devil's Printer. So, and I'm kind of at the point now where I'll be honest with you, I'm at the point now with this. I'm going to have to hit this with an eraser. Excuse me. I need to hit this with an eraser so I can see where I need to tweak the stone and rubble look. Because I know what I'm going to need to do is to really help enforce that this fire isn't really blazing hot and it's small. I'm going to have to put tone in this area. I'm just not sure how I'm going to do it yet. I think what the best thing to do is just go in with a super fine nib, just put a whole sheen of dots on, and then slowly work it dark, and then from there go, and that the edge area here will be like all but pitch black. So that's the reason why I'm not going too far in right now with the stonework, and just putting a light sheen in, just to give you an idea of where the dots, where the bricks are. So, because what it is, I'll use, like I said, I'll use this area to help reinforce it. So, and then, like I said, after the Rough Riders, we go to Ruse 15, signed by Scott Beatty. And I like this series, even though the whole cross-gen thing, it was like one of those where it's like, you'd see the cityscape of Ruse, and how like you got these little like gargoyle creatures like jumping all over and lampposts and that type of stuff. Scott Beatty was kind of like, yeah, I know they gotta be in there, but all that stuff is just window dressing. The real story is this Sherlock Holmes style detective, and he did a great job of how like this guy's like, remember the TV show House, how he was like, he's the smartest man in the room and he already knows it, so he speaks in a demeaning manner to everybody, um, even to the female sidekick, who she's the one that I guess you could say gets him. It's one of those where it's like he's not being rude. It's just how he is. He's not intentionally, again, he's not intentionally being rude. He just is because he's the smartest man in the room and he always knows it. So I like that. Scott Beatty picked up the series from Mark Waid, and I thought Scott Beatty did a great job. And the reason why I even had this one signed over other issues is because who's the artwork? It was Paul Ryan. And we all know Paul Ryan is one of my favorite artists. So it's one of those where it's like he's not around anymore, but I'll get someone else uh, to sign who worked on a book with Paul, even if I can't get a Paul signature. So that way I at least have a book in my collection uh, that he worked on signed. So that's important to me. So, and then after that, we now end, we're no longer in the R's, we're now in the S's. We go back to DC Comics, and we are at Secret Files and Origins. I really like these books. These were a great DC book. That was one of those where it's like, hey, we've got a big event going on the Batman title. Here's a book that will help you get caught up to speed on everything, so you can buy the next like gazillion and 3 different Batman books associated with the story. And I like that because it was like one of those where it gave you a chance to get caught up on the characters, and then from there decide whether you wanted to get the book. So this was Batman No Man's Land. And I've got, like I said, I really like this. I've got about like 36 of these books, these secret file books, signed by one person or another. This one particularly, I'm very fortunate. I got a lot of people sign it. It's Scott Beatty, Craig Rousseau, Bob Allman, and James Pascoe. So, uh, just like I said, I took advantage of these guys being at shows, and these I don't. These are type of books that where it's like again, I'm getting signed what I want signed, but it's one of those where also I look at one of those where it's like, I know it doesn't have any value. That's the reason why it's one of those where it's like, you're charging $10 a signature. No, you're not signing my secret files book. Oh, you're not charging for your signature? Yes, I want you to sign my secret files book. Um, but I really do. I do generally like these books, and so whenever I go to a show, if I can get a free signature on one of these books, I'm going to take it. So, because like I always say, I get them signed from me, not because ooh, this could have value in the future. No, it's not. It's not how I look at it at all. So, and then after that, for the last day of the week, we go to Secret Files and Origins, JLA in Crisis, uh, signed by Scott Beatty. And Scott Beatty did a lot of work with Secret Origins, these book series. Found out to hear what it was. He had done a tour of the Batcave for Wizard, and I guess he did such a good job that he was hired by DC to do a lot of these Secret Origin books because he would do all the research and then accumulate it all together for the for print. And like a lot of times you'd have to like condense it down to the bare essentials. So, and then after that, we've got and like Scott Beatty did a lot of the writing for it, signed by Frank Fusco, Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, Kevin McGuire, and Rags Morales. Rags Morales, it was essentially a full issue. It was like almost a 22-page story in this, focused around the Hour Man, the robotic android Hour Man from the future, which he was doing the book for at the time. And so yes, I did pay for Rag's signature in this one, but I looked at it where it's like one of those where it's like, again, I look and go, no, there's probably not a lot of value with with him being with me paying for the charged signature, but I'm look at all the signatures I'm getting along with it already. I mean, a Rags Morales signature right beside Kevin McGuire, right beside Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, and Frank Fusco. You can't pass it up. I mean, this is one of those few books where I look at it and go, maybe I should get uh, pay for Tony Harris for his signature on this. Maybe, maybe not. I mean, it all depends. I mean, when I get to the show, I might look and go, nah, not worth it. Or before the show, I might be like, I really want it signed, but like I said, at the show, you're saying like, no, I'll get him to sign something else. So it all depends. 'Cause sometimes you go to a show and normally a creator charging like $20 a signature, but for this show, he's only doing $5 a signature. Okay, always. So it's one of those deals where I kind of like over prepare, so that way I have the book there in case something like that happens. So, but yeah, I really do enjoy the Secret Files, and like I said, having a book like this, the JLA in Crisis, signed by so much top DC talent with a long history of working with DC. I mean, come on, guys, come on, man. So, but so, guys, I'm almost done with this video. I know I still got more to do here. Like I said, after I get done with the video, after like an hour or two of working on this commission I have, I'm probably going to hit this in the eraser and see what all needs to be tightened up on this. So with luck, I don't know if I'm going to be doing a video tomorrow, but if not next weekend on Saturday, I'll probably do this up here and finish this blanket. And then after that, we'll go down to here. So, but I'm getting to the point where I'm not going to be able to work on this page anymore, and I'm going to have to move on to the trading card from doing the videos. So, but right now, the only time I'm working on this is when I'm doing a video for you guys. So this video is going to be about 30 minutes. So each day that I do a video, I'm doing about 30 minutes of it, work on it, and then I move the commission. And then when I get the commission done, I'll go back to this. So, guys, you all have a great, beautiful Labor Day weekend. Yesterday, the weather was beautiful. Now, in the evening, it got kind of chilly for us, but today it's in the 80s, so another beautiful day. So, you guys have a great, beautiful Labor Day weekend. And remember, guys, life is stressful. Just take it all one dot at a time.